I love you. Why won't you subscribe? You probably only subscribe to bitches. Hello there and welcome to the Reddit Cringe with your host, yours truly, Dylan Distorted. Today we're going to be covering the subreddit r/NiceGirlStories featuring the infamous r/NiceGirls. So sit back, relax, and just let me love you. I'm a really nice person. r/NiceGirl is an unhealthy obsession with my boyfriend. Part 1. The events that happen all span out over 2 or so years. This is going to have to be in parts because there's a lot. Ages aren't super important, it's just to specify the age gap between my friends and I. So let's start with names, yeah? I'm going to refer to myself as Afro. I was 19 years old when this started, 5'9", chubby visual artist. Mega, my boyfriend, 6'1", 22, built like a track star, also a visual artist. Main's jump and shoot man in Super Smash Bros., hence the moniker. Also one of the few people who have no idea how social media works. Chai, my best friend since sophomore year in high school, also 19. She has no filter whatsoever and I love her for it. Wind, guy friend who is kinda like a brother to me. 20 at the time, knows the depths of the situation better than I do because our resident nice girl used to vent to him a lot. Faith, the obsessive nice girl, really skinny, 5'3" at the most, 23. She's known Win and Mega since high school through an arts program for teens, lives out of the state for college. So let's get into the story. The first time I heard the name Faith was a few months into dating Mega. I was 18, I met him the week I graduated high school. He would get a call on his phone, he would show the name to our friends and send the call to voicemail. Our friends would laugh maniacally and Mega would just shake his head in disapproval. I had asked who she was out of curiosity, because I wondered why they all reflected on her like a war flashback. I was thinking she was that ex, you know? Nope, not even close. She's been rejected multiple times by Vega. I learned that Faith asked Mega out to prom, but Mega said no because he hated school events. So Faith asked her mom to beg him to go, in which Mega politely turned her down again. That was maybe 3 years ago at this point, so I left it at that. She was just someone who couldn't take no for an answer and stuck around. One night, Mega and I were in his room, kind of innocent stuff because we were fresh into dating, and his phone rang. A name popped up instead of a number, but I didn't have enough time to seek it completely. It was well past 11 p.m., and I just assumed a family member was calling to check on him. But he answered the phone awkwardly. The chatter on the other end was clearly female and referred to him by last name. All of our friends called Mega by his last name, but family would definitely use his first. He continued on, "Hey Faith, I'm busy hanging out with my girlfriend right now." She chattered on, and I heard her immediately ask how our relationship was going and said to tell Afro I said hi. And then Mega pried himself away and ended the call. I was kind of annoyed that she called so late, but I was especially annoyed because the mood was ruined. Every now and again, Mega and I would hang out at night. Sometimes he would randomly get a call from Faith. He would hang it up, tell her he was with me, or flat out ignore it like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I knew what nice girls were, and I was a little giddy to be able to personally witness one in the future, soon to be wariness. It's a year later in summer, I am now 19 years old. Mega tells me that Faith wants to hang out while she's back in town. He didn't really have the heart to tell her no, but at this point, I knew that she's kind of obsessive. I was skeptical because I knew the exact kind of shit she was going to try and pull. Guys, I'm not even kidding, I rehearsed it in my head. I told Mega this was going to be a horrible experience, but he wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to give her the opportunity to prove me right anyway, so I said fine. We arranged a public hangout space at Potbelly's with friends and waited. She tried to ask for his work address and meet him there, but even Mega knew that wasn't a good idea. I asked Chai to come too for moral support and vent since me and Mega's mutual friends are all guys. And it seemed like all our friends wanted to witness her bullshit too. All of us knew something was going to go down. There are 5 of us waiting, 4 of us are sitting in a booth, and Mega sitting in the inside seat closer to the electrical outlets to charge his phone. Chai is sitting next to me at a smaller table next to the booth. Enter Faith. And her friend? She's really short, she has huge eyes, I don't think she has enough eyelid skin to blink properly, I'm not even kidding. And she makes direct eye contact with Mega. Mega starts by saying, "Hey, guys, this is Faith. Faith, be my girlfriend Afro." I responded with, "Hey, nice to..." She walks straight over to us and quickly cuts me off. "I would give you a hug, but she's in the way." I'm almost impressed by how ballsy she is, but I wasn't anticipating the anxiety that comes with having a woman who has a crush on my boyfriend be rude to me in front of my friends. Chai looks at me, and then her, and then makes a, "Is this bitch for real?" gesture in my peripheral. She's so fucking rude. Mega shifts awkwardly and settles for a half hug across the table. One of our guy friends coughs and makes an innuendo about her thirst by asking for some water. We chuckle uneasily. Faith's friend excuses herself and conveniently has a doctor's appointment. After 6 p.m.? We all sit and chatter, but Faith only talks at Mega. When something goes from anyone else's hands to Mega, she has to put her hand out to touch his. When there's too much silence for too long, she brings up things from the past with her and Mega. The mood gets awkward. The 5 of us interchangeably make eye contact in understanding. We try to change the subject, she brings it back to Mega, and the cycle repeats for 15 minutes. Another friend arrives, and I ask him to sit in my seat next to Mega so that Faith won't get the opportunity to be that close to him. I tell Mega I'm going to get food, and he asks me to buy enough to share, to which I happily oblige. I asked Chai to take a walk with me for food, but it was more to vent to her. I said, she's kind of making me uncomfortable. I knew this was going to be a bad idea. And Chai agreed. She didn't quite notice the whole Faith constantly has to touch Mega thing, so I told her I would use the food as an example to show it to her again. We come back. I don't want to make my friend give my seat back because he's starting to draw on his sketchbook, so Chai sits in the same seat as before, and I sit across from her, which is directly behind Faith. She's going on about this cheap little ring that Mega gave her when they were teenagers and how perfectly it fit her on her little finger. I can't even describe the way that she was speaking, but it sounded like she was enacting a daydream rather than recalling a memory. I cut her off and offer Mega some food on the end of my fork. He reaches across with ease and then eats it with gusto. I stand up and reach over to hand him the rest of the box of orange chicken, and of course, Faith still takes the opportunity to grab at our hands as if she's trying to bridge the gap between us. She took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. Chai and I share a look with pursed lips, and then she nods in understanding. Chai and I mime our reactions out to everything Faith says, and I begin to feel okay again with her there validating my feelings. Faith all of a sudden says she has to go home now, and she asks Mega to walk her 5 blocks to a bus stop she could catch across the street. She's only been there for maybe half an hour at most. Even when she sputters an excuse, I know it's bullshit. Mega's eyes look dead inside, and he asks me to come with to walk her there. I loudly agree. We hold hands and walk. I'm still trying to be cordial with her, even after all this. I'm literally the bigger person, even if she is older than me. I'm on the right side of Mega, Faith is on the left side next to him. I notice his face looks troubled, and he softly goes, "No." Edit. Okay, so the reason he said this was apparently because she tried to kiss him on the cheek. Faith has gotten closer and closer to him as we were walking, but I didn't notice until she was so close that she was practically breathing on him. I ignored her for the most part, until she laces her fingers around his hand and I see him move his entire arm away and her hand fall. I look directly at her and the discomfort in his face. He wrapped his hands around my shoulders to move away from her. I almost shoved this girl because she was beginning to concern me about how touchy she was. But she's half a foot shorter than me and way skinnier. There's no way that wouldn't look bad in public. Besides, that's probably what she would want anyways, to make it feel like I'm threatened by her. We walk some more, and she does it again, this time leaning on his shoulder and looking up at me and fucking smirks. I say out loud, "The fuck are you doing?" She smiles and giggles to herself while Mega walks about 3 feet from her and pulls me over with him. He has both arms around my shoulders and stands behind me. We get to the bus stop and she goes, "Why don't you two kiss a lot?" I don't even give her the satisfaction. Because neither of us like to do heavy PDA? That's for us in the privacy of home? She mumbles something in response and Mega wraps his arms around my waist. She then boards her bus and I mutter, "Good riddance." Afterwards, Mega and I have a talk about what happened. I tell him that she disrespected boundaries, disrespected our relationship, and disrespected me personally in front of our friends. He agrees. I wish I had pulled the power move, but that's not who I was at the time. Patience, dear readers. When we get back to the restaurant, I explain to Chai and Wind, who arrived after the fact, the events that unfolded. All of our friends are on board with blocking her, and they laugh at witnessing the bullshit that just transpired. I joke with them, "I feel like she's just trying to replace me, but at least you guys actually like me." And they agreed. Wynn sends Faith a message explaining that he knows what happened and he wasn't going to talk to her anymore because of all the things she did. She acts innocent and like she did nothing wrong. So she gets blocked on Wynn's phone as well as Mega's phone. Later that evening, Mega's recently created Facebook account was activated. I told him it was a good idea to use his platforms to spread his artwork, and he finally did it. All of our mutuals were in awe. At this point, every post was public by default. Mega doesn't take many photos, so he had one where I was more of the main focus and holding the camera. He spread the word about his Redbubble shop in a post with the two of us modeling some shirts. The next morning, Faith found his new Facebook, finds the Redbubble post, comments at 6 in the morning, "Who gives a fuck?" It's about noon, and I see her comment and go, "Quite clearly you, and since it's 6 a.m. and you're out here typing hate comments on Facebook," send her a message on Facebook like, "Hey, just saying, you shouldn't harass people because you didn't get your way out here. You can and will be ignored." She never responded. That was the summer of 2017. Until she came back a year later, September 2018. To be continued. I'm exhausted from typing. Next one will have screenshots, I promise. "You don't kiss a lot. That must mean it's okay for me to get with him. I mean, you're not using him properly, so I'm allowed to have him. This girl needs to take a chill pill. Maybe a Vicodin or two to be safe. No one should be wound this tight about a guy that has expressed no interest in them." The part that really gets me is when she asked her mom to ask him to go with her. If he said no to me, that must mean he needs to be asked by my parent. That's not weird. Stay tuned for more Nice Girl stories, including the part 2 of this story, but for now, a word from our sponsors. Are you tired of girls who let you sleep? How about girls who aren't fucking crazy? Introducing the Nice Girl. Hello? Wow, really? Hello? What? You can't reply to any of the previous 5,396 messages? That's how sleeping works.
Are you home?
Yeah, babe.
Take a picture with a spoon on top of your head.
Why?
To prove you're home.
Okay, wait. What?
You could have taken that yesterday.
Why the fuck would I take a picture with a spoon on the top of my head yesterday?
I ain't gonna say I beat my boyfriend, but he do flinch when I reach for him.
Welcome back. Now let's go see what happens in part 2 of r/NiceGirl has an unhealthy obsession with my boyfriend. In the second part, we have the text conversation that took place a year later from the incident.
I'm really sorry about last summer.
Okay.
Can you tell Mega I'm sorry too?
Yeah, but you really ought to tell him yourself.
Okay. Hey, are you with him?
You don't need to know that.
Okay, never mind. Hi. How are you?
Answer me! 4 missed calls. 2 missed calls.
Hey.
You missed a call from a contact.
Why do you keep calling? I need to talk to Mega.
Your apologies are known. What else could you possibly want?
What I want is my best friend. I don't have any friends in Erford.
You should have thought of that before you blew up at everyone and waited a year to apologize.
It's not my fault. Wynn was the one who told me to stay away.
Did you forget you literally told Mega you didn't give a fuck on his Facebook?
I didn't know it was him.
Missed call from a contact.
You thought it was me, right? Yeah.
And why would you blow up at me? I didn't do anything to you.
I didn't mean to do that. I was having a bad day and I didn't mean to take it out on you.
That sounds like an excuse, honestly.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. I felt so bad that I tried to hurt myself.
That sounds really manipulative, and you shouldn't hurt yourself.
Why is everyone against me?
No one is against you. Just think about what it looks like from anyone else's perspective.
Okay, I just miss my best friend.
Be considerate of him then. If your intentions are honest, then tone it down.
Okay, I'll give him space. He isn't replying back.
Stop fucking texting me about Mega. I'm not in charge of Mega. He is his own person, and I don't have control over his actions. And if he honestly doesn't want to talk to you, I have no control over that. You don't respect boundaries and just assume if you bother someone enough that you are going to get what you want. That's not how this works at all. I don't have any reason to continue to talk to you, nor do I owe you any sort of closure about this entire situation, because you chose to be inconsiderate and childish. Do yourself a favor and find new friends. Fuck you. Mega already does that for me. Although I do think that the OP came off a bit harsh, I think it was completely called for. The anger is justified seeing as this nice girl was actively treating her like trash and trying to steal her boyfriend. I thoroughly enjoy when nice girls get called out. I legit feel sorry for some guys. Like, they're gonna be 40 odd, all shagged out and wifeless, but hey, at least they will still have the boys to go down to the same shit pub every weekend. You go to the same pub every weekend. Girl tries to force my roommate to marry her, gets rejected, and accuses him of ruining her life. This is my first ever post, so please let me know if I made a mistake. So first some context. I'm a girl living in a 2-bedroom apartment with my male roommate. He's a decent looking salaryman who loves to cook. Our story starts when he starts talking to this girl, NG, our nice girl, whom he met through this Indian dating website. It's like Tinder, but you meet and date with the intent of marriage. He is in the USA, and the girl is in India. They talk almost every other night, and seems to be getting along well. But my roommate, let's call him Jay, is not interested in her as a romantic partner. Understandable, right? She says she'll come to the US and visit him after throwing him some "I can change your mind" and "we'll see where this goes. Let's first at least meet." He agrees and helps her book her tickets to the US, and after getting my permission, he offers her to stay at our place as living in hotels is expensive and motels are unsafe. Please note that Jay has already told this lady that he does not wish to marry her, and that she may come but is nothing more than a friend. She finally comes, and this is where everything starts. Jay went to pick her up at the airport, and she arrives at my home around 9 p.m. I was going on a dinner date, so was ready waiting for my Uber to come, when she came and gave me this judgmental look and greeted me. I passed it off as my imagination and left for the night. On the third day, Jay told me that they had an argument because he told her that he had no intention of marrying her again, and she won't take a no. A week passes by and their arguments get louder and louder. During this uproar, we make the mistake of inviting Emily, my friend, CO, our next door neighbor, and Jay's more than friend, less than girlfriend, friend, for dinner. Oh god, that was a huge mistake. NG's tantrums got even louder then on, even though we told her that Emily is just a friend. Jay and Emily were obviously very close, and he naturally showed a deeper relation with her than our nice girl. She was here for one more week. After that, she would leave to her relative's place in another state. During this week, I got so fed up with her because she would argue with Jay till late night. Once till 2, despite the fact that Jay had already told her that he had a meeting early morning the next day. Jay was a team coordinator, and most of his team was overseas, hence early morning meetings were common for him. The poor guy didn't even get an hour of sleep. We couldn't just throw her out because she had no one in the state to go to. So to avoid getting as many arguments as possible, Jay would sometimes take her out on lunch dates to satisfy her ego.
but it won't work as he won't take her out on dinner dates. The reason for this was me. I wasn't very good at cooking, and because he likes to cook for the 8 months or so, he had been the cook of the house, and I do the dishes and cleaning. Also know that I was mostly out during the day, but always got home around 7 at dinner, the next morning till 10 to 10:30. I was also home all day, 2 days a week. This will be important in the next part, so let's get the most ridiculous part. 2 weeks are over and she finally leaves. She bid bye to Jay properly at the airport, and she also apologized for her behavior. For a few days, she texts some desperate texts to Jay asking him to come back to her, and that they are perfect for each other. And when ignored by him, I will ruin your life. You've made a big mistake. You messed with the wrong person this time, etc. The standard stuff. By the first week of October, things were quiet, and we went back to our normal lives. Here comes the dumbest ever nice girl stuff. 2.5 fucking months later, during the New Year's week, Jay gets a call from the police asking him to come down to the station because she had accused him of raping her, of course, locking her in the apartment. That's new, but our apartment doors can only be locked from the inside. Maybe she forgot. That she had no contact with the outside world because she had never had an opportunity to call authorities from her cell phone, which she had used to text Jay during his work every single day, her laptop, which she had access to our Wi-Fi network, and the best one, let me quote, "He is a monster. He raped me hundreds of times during my stay and ruined my life. And he had been doing it to many other women for God knows how long. I knew for a fact that he has been sexually harassing and manipulating at least 3 others except me. This guy has criminal mentality." After reading her entire essay, I was able to decipher that this fucking woman had included me, Emily, and Jay's female coworker that she had only seen a picture of on Jay's Instagram, where she is standing next to him in a group and selfie with 3 others. And I know it so well because she has been sending the same email to the officer in charge as well as Jay. Just why? So naturally, Jay tells the officer everything, and the next week I was called to confirm Jay's story. The officer then asked me questions and patiently heard my side of the story. Jay had told me that she had some kind of medical proof that she had been raped, so after my interview was over, I asked the officer about it, and oh my god. Apparently this medical proof was that she can provide proof that she is no longer a virgin, and that she was a virgin before she met Jay. Note, by the time of this officer interrogating me, she has not yet provided him proof that she was not a virgin. She is merely stating that she can provide proof. Also, she was a virgin before as a self-statement, and she obviously does not have proof of that. The biggest of them all, the officer told me that he didn't know that this apparent rapist man had been living with a 20-year-old for an entire year. She had not mentioned me at all, and only came to know that Jay had a female roommate when he told the officer about me. I told the officer that I had been sleeping just one wall away from where she was supposedly locked in and raped. I seriously cannot comprehend what did she think was going to happen. To those who want to know how the story ends, the officer drops the case, Jay gets one more email from her addressing to the officer with the same stuff. We had learned our lesson. Jay learned that there is no need to be unnecessarily nice to someone like her, and I learned that people like her actually exist. P.S. He once took her to a nearby city for shopping souvenirs, and they took some pictures. Right now she is using those pictures as her profile picture on Facebook, Instagram, and even on her dating profile on the same website. Man, this guy really missed out on marrying this nice girl. Arguing when she doesn't get her way, lying about rape, and too stupid to realize the flaws in her story when lying about said rape? Of course I'm being sarcastic, but the only person too stupid to pick up on that is probably this woman. Seriously, how are you gonna lie about rape 2 months later because someone didn't want to marry you? What was the 2 months for? Is that how long it took to find someone willing to have sex with your crazy ass so you could set up this whole rape allegation? Get out of my face with that shiz. I'm anxious for the day you realize I was the complete package after you have settled down with someone who didn't accuse you of rape. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is technically the 4th Reddit video I've made, but it's the first episode in this series because it's a whole different format I'm trying out. Let me know if you like it. New videos come out every Sunday and Wednesday, so make sure you tune in. Peace out, nice Girl Scout.